GingerGM.
We'll get rid of that. There should be no echo now. It's just because I had the sound on Twitch. That should be a lot better. It's never going to be perfect when I'm doing it, is it? I'm not a kind of perfect guy. I'm very far from being perfect. So anyway, what we're going to do, I'm just going to play a long play game. I'm sure most of you know what this is all about. And this is where I play against a random player. It doesn't matter what their rating is. My opponent's 1900, decent rating. I'm going to play the black line. It's only now 4 days. 4 days. Is that 4? 4 days until my Chessable course is released. So I want to get a lot of black line magic in. And we're going to get it. So in the course, I talk about e5. This is one option I did not put in my chess-based course. But you have to be aware that there's an ending there. Now, shall I play that, or shall I play, I call that the tame line, and the risky line, let's play the risky line, I'm a kind of risky kind of chap, is knight on bd7. So maybe we'll see if this works out well. And again, hello to everyone who's joining in on this rather random stream. Now, bishop e3 is a normal move, but I quite like playing against this system because it indicates that white's going to castle queenside. Now, when white castles queenside, we often have an attack starting with c6 and b5. So stage 1 of the black line is e5. This is stage 1. Get your center very well defended, bring your knights out into the center. So I always say this is stage 1, and it's a nice solid stage to start with. And normally with bishop e3, white will continue with f3 and then queen d2 and g4. And we meet that by c6 and b5, getting a very exciting position. And white can also play knight to f3 here and develop normally, but stage 2 of the black line is generally bishop e7, c6, queen c7. Okay, now taking there is a move that you should never be worried about because it releases the tension, and after pawn takes, it doesn't really help white, but it gives black more options. For example, my bishop can now develop to these two squares, which it couldn't do before. Probably the move I'll be considering is bishop b4 when I have ideas of taking on e4, and that wouldn't be possible if I had a pawn on d6. Charlie's saying play the ginger line. I'm not entirely sure what the ginger line is. We have to come up with that at some point. Maybe we'll give it a go. Okay, so my opponent's now played the most active move. Now the normal black line would be bishop e7, but when they take on this square, you have this other option of putting the bishop there, and I think I'm going to take that option because I may have ideas of taking this pawn, and even if he kicks my bishop away, I can even then retreat if I want to, or maybe my bishop can come this way. This is another way to put the bishop, and this position is equal. And look, when you're playing an opening as black, if you get an equal position, you should be happy. So we've already got an equal position. I've got my coffee here with one of my favourite bands. Can you see the band? No, because the camera's now disappearing. Can you guess the band? I'm sure most of you can. And hello to everyone who's joining the chat. You're basically seeing a bit of long play game, a grandmaster trying to help you improve and think in the correct way. So my opponent has played f3. So whenever your opponent plays a move, you should be thinking of the pros and cons of his moves. Don't just think of your own plans. Think of your opponent's plans. Now, what are the pros of that move for white? Well, number one, he defends e4. So he's got a very solid pawn structure. But what are the negatives? The negatives are this knight now doesn't have a natural square to move to. So it's going to have to go to e2, where it's a lot more passive. Saying that should not change my plan here. And I can either go c6 here or castle. Now, you know what? I'm going to play c6 because I'm feeling that I just want to stop the knight coming there. So let's play c6. And c6 is your normal plan in the black line anyway, because you often want to play b5 and expand on that side of the board. But now, after knight here, I will indeed castle. And I'm going to be trying to play b5. Maybe I could have played b5 last move, but there's nothing wrong with just castling here. And I think maybe another good idea there would have been queen e7, because I have bishop c5, and actually getting rid of these bishops might be very nice. Let's do that. We don't normally have the opportunity to go bishop c5, But after queen e7, and normally you put your queen on c7 in these positions, but actually it looks better here because I kind of want to go bishop c5. If he takes it, I will go queen takes c5, and that will be check, and that will be not just check, but winning his bishop. So already this seems very pleasant for me. Very important to have a pawn on c6 because it stops his knight ever coming into the position. And here, well, I'm going to continue with my plan of bishop c5, which he can't take. Looking a bit rosy, am I? Am I looking rosy? Maybe it's the lighting. I think I've changed my lighting. This actually, we've got better lighting now, have we? I say that. This is actually what I normally look like, you know, like rosy-faced ginger. I don't actually look as pale as normal. Hello, Perno. Anyway, I hope you're doing well, mate. How you been getting on recently? You been okay? How's Phoenix? How's Phoenix and Perno getting on? Are they doing well? Hope so. Lovely kids you have, Perno. Did I get my car sorted? No. My car is now home, but it's not sorted. My brother's going to try to come over. It's cost me loads of money to fix. I won't swear. You thought it was the beard that was making me look rosy. I think I generally actually have a bit of colour in my face. I don't know. Maybe it's just the alcohol. Maybe my blood vessels in my face have just burst, and I'm like, you know, my face is a goner. It's going to go the same colour as my beard. I'm literally going to be a tomato. I'm going to be tomato. Tomato GM will be my new name. Anyway, let's go for b5. Why not go into the space? Is it just me? Is your beard extra gingery today? Well, like I say, I think I've changed the lighting. I like my t-shirt today. I've changed the lighting. I've given myself a bit more colour. But with all these comments, I might have to go back to be a ghost again. You know, I might have to just go ghosty. Right. So this should be an equal position. Now I can consider taking and going knight c5, but I don't think I need to rush that. Now a5 would be a normal way to try to get initiative on the queen side. I can also just go bishop b7. Now that's not a great square for the bishop, but it does allow me to try and take over this diagonal. But I think I will play a5 first, because my bishop may actually come to a6 and feel better on that diagonal. So I'm just going to delay where I put this bishop until things become a little bit clearer. Then I will know if my bishop is better here or here. And I'm kind of thinking it's always going to be a little bit more active on a6 because I have the possibility of b4 and some stuff over here. And I want to complete my development before I do anything. Another way I could play this is to go a very standard maneuver, is to go rook here and knight f8. But after rook here, maybe my opponent goes rook here and he has a bit of a pin. So I think I'm just going to play, and my knight can always come to c5. I'm just going to play bishop a6, equal position probably. Maybe I prefer my position slightly better because my opponent hasn't got anywhere he can move his knights. My pawns control his knights. And my pieces they have a little bit more natural movement. And one thing you often do in these middle games, and this is well worth considering, is, okay, I will take the knight, is try to get my knight eventually via this square into either d4 or f4. These squares later on can be quite nice for my knight. But for the time being, we can now see why my bishop could be quite good here, because I can now consider playing a b4, and you can see that because my opponent's knight doesn't have many squares, this could be quite a good way because he's going to have to come back. So let's try to push him backwards. If you can force your opponent's pieces backwards, that's good. And my knight is extra well placed here because it controls a4, and my opponent might have wanted to put the knight there, but with the rook coming to d8 and the bishop on a6, you can see that my bishop is certainly better placed here. Anyway, let's have a little sip of thing. Oh, hello. You're looking at playing in Hampstead. What is that? Is that a one-day Perno, or is that a weekend tournament? You have to let me know the dates of that. Maybe I'll come up and say hi if Corona hasn't killed us all by then, of course. So, what do you guys reckon about Corona? Come on, let's hear your thoughts. Is it going to kill everyone? What do we think about Corona? Is Corona to be worried about? let me know. I don't think it's too much to be worried about. I actually might have a tactic here, actually. I'm just thinking, can I take here and go b3, winning immediately? Because of this line here. Well, look, I mean, rook d8 first makes sense because I get another piece. But then he has to go here or here to defend his knight. Maybe I'm winning already. Maybe. Rook here, queen comes, bishop takes here, queen takes there, b3. Pawn takes b3, knight takes b3. I think this could be winning. So I play very simple moves in the black line against a decent player. And this could be really good for me. And my idea now is to take here. I think I've just seen a very basic tactic because look, he has a traffic jam. And now I think I can play b3. He goes pawn takes, I go knight takes, and then I'm going to win the exchange. And this opening is, I told you, the black line. Who's going to buy my course then? Who's going to buy my course? Who's going to buy it? Look, you're going to get winning positions if you buy it. Natural stuff. Easy. Okay, let's see what you're saying about Corona. Anyway. So you're playing the Weekender. Let me know the dates of that, Perno. It's blown way out of proportion, Corona. Well, I mean, scaremongering is something that the media use to put us in a position of fear and to control us, says David Icke. Maybe some of what he says is true. You know, it's possible. So there's a lot of scaremongering going on. So Defective Bishop saying, I live in Korea. If everyone practiced good hygiene, it would be good. Yes, very bad flu or pneumonia. It's dangerous for people with weak immune systems. I agree. It's a little bit dangerous by what people are reporting. If those reports are right, I think it's making us being afraid. I'm not afraid of Corona at this stage. I'm not scared of a virus named after a wheat beer. I have to say that's one of the better comments, I think, of the coronavirus. And maybe one of the most sensible ones is we should be worried but not scared. I think we should be aware of Corona, but I think scared is something we don't need to be yet. Okay, so now what about this idea? I'm just trying to find... I mean, look, my rooks are very good. I should be winning now. My rooks are very nicely placed, so I don't need to move them. My queen maybe can come in and cause some havoc, but my knight is the only piece which is not doing a great deal. So let's threaten some nasty ideas with the knight. This is going like clockwork. Very rare a game goes so bloody well. Okay, so now I can even come over here. Am I worried about queen c4? Is queen c4? His only idea would be to attack here. Let's have a look. Queen here, trying to checkmate him. So queen here, queen here. Now if I do take... Oh, I can't take there. Now I do have a check there, defending that one. Then my knight can come into g3. So that's one idea. Another idea is just to play queen here, because this looks like the most active and good move. But one thing... I mean, I say stronger players do, and I am a grandmaster, is they always want to stop their opponent's counterplay. And this is the only move I can see which gives white counterplay. So if I can come in here, that would to me seem like I control that square. It might not be the most active, but it does seem like a good idea, because why allow him any counterplay whatsoever? Okay, let's have a look at some more of your comments about Corona. Okay, interested. I'm only afraid of Corona when they don't serve it with lime. In Australia, all the supermarkets are running out of toilet paper. Yeah, I know, it's bizarre, yeah? I mean, I didn't even know Australians use toilet paper. That was the most shocking thing I heard. I thought they're all from the bush, mate. But they use a bit of bush green to wipe their asses, mate. That's a terrible Australian accent. I've brought a 1985 camper van. He's going... cool, you lucky man, Neil Barker. I was thinking about getting a camper van. I'd love to get a camper van. I'd love to get my streaming, set up on the camper van, so I could go, camper vanning around the world streaming. That would be cool, wouldn't it? Streaming from various locations. Okay, right, now if I come in here, he can take me. My back rank is weak if I move this rook, so I don't want to do that. He can't take me there at the moment. Let's think about my opponent's moves. Let's try to win this game by stopping my opponent. How about that? So he can't move his queen at the moment because I win the bishop. So the queen is not a problem. If he ever swaps off queens, I'm very happy because it makes it easy winning. He can only move his knight to this square, but then I swap off more. So he can't move his queen. He can't really move his knight. His rook doesn't have any good squares to move to, and his bishop has nothing to do either. So he can't at the moment move any of his pieces. So I don't actually need to do much to win this game, but I will improve my pieces. So this knight coming in here now threatens knight takes g2 and rook d2, or rook d2 straight away, or queen d2, just swapping queens off. So this is the simplest way to play. Let's have a look. When are you going to do a DVD on the Krona Gambit? I don't think that's very appropriate at the moment, Perno. Maybe it is appropriate, who knows. You know how many people died of flu just this week? That's a good point. Maybe, you know, there's probably around the... How many was it? How many people did die of flu this week? Probably loads. I mean, the thing that worries me is... I'm a smoker, so it does affect your lungs. If I got it, it might affect me a lot more than other people. I'm sure I'd survive it, you know. And it's worrying for, like you say, weaker people. But so is flu. So is it more scary than flu? At the moment, maybe not. But if you actually look at it, if you look at the sort of Spanish flu and compare it to that, I was reading up on that a little bit, and Spanish flu had a mortality rate the first time it came round about 2-3%. This one is a higher than that. Both influenzas. The first time Spanish came around, then it disappeared for a year, and then the second time Spanish flu came around, it had a higher mortality rate because it had evolved, should we say? That's not the right word. And the third time it killed something like 500 million people. So I suppose the danger with this is it mutating and coming back year after year, stronger and stronger, and being, you know, it's very contagious. And the other thing is it doesn't show any signs. But should we panic about it? Hell no. Of course we shouldn't. Of course we shouldn't panic about it. You know, it's really not. Okay, right. Now I'm going to take this one and win the game. So should we just do that? This is easy. Easy. Look at this. Rook takes there. And I have to say, 25 moves, the black line just crushed it. And I think I won this game by a combination of putting my pieces in the opening on good squares, gaining space on the queen side, and being very aware of what my opponent's trying to do, forcing him backwards with my pawns, and realising that a lot of moves, like rook here, actually just make his position worse. So this is one thing that, there we go, I find is very useful. If you stop your opponent's ideas in chess, you're basically going to nearly always win. So you can win games by not even thinking about your own ideas, or just, you know, try this out. Go and play some more long play games, and just try not to think about your own ideas. You should do that as well, but get into the habit of just trying to stop what your opponent's trying to do. So look at the last piece he's moving, think, what's he trying to do? How can I stop that? Or even wait for him to make a mistake. Because if we go back to this position here, I realise that any pretty much piece move that my opponent plays is going to make his position worse. So by playing a normal move, I encourage my opponent to basically kill himself. And after rook to f2, he's done that. I just win the knight on d1. So you can win games very often by just not doing anything but waiting for your opponent to make a mistake. And I think we'd all become stronger players if we used this, it's called prophylactic strategy, in more of our games. Okay, let's have a look at some of the comments. Someone's saying, are you smoking a pipe? Well, let's have a look. There is the pawn into space. And we'll look at it. It's going in the pipe. Oh, put that in your pipe and smoke it, son. And someone's saying I'm in China now. Okay, well, what's it like in China at the moment? Interesting to know. Apparently, they got very good healthcare now in China, and it's all dying down. And I don't know. I expect with Corona, it's going to get worse for a month or so, and then it will disappear. And I don't think anyone should worry too much about it. Let's just put it like that. You know, it's not at the moment it's not the influenza that's going to kill everyone in the world, like Spanish flu. Maybe it will be in a couple of years, but hey ho, let's not worry about a couple of years at this moment in time. We have prophylactic strategies with corona as well. We do. Wash your hands. So, okay, let's very quickly have a look at this game, which is only 25 moves. And as I say, my course on the black line. Now, by the way, if you're not on my Facebook page, go and check out my Facebook page, which is basically GingerGM, because I put a lot of information. Well, why did I type that? You know my name. On my Facebook page. This is my Facebook page. You can't see it properly, but it's got some cool photos and it's got updates. And look, this will give you more information. And I often reply on Facebook to comments. So you can see here that it's only 4 days now until the release of my black line course, and I'll try to get around to answering them. So I don't always answer, but check out GingerGM on Facebook. Now, this opening, this is what the next course I've done. I've spent a lot of time analysing this, and this is stage 1 of the black line. Now, my opponent played pawn takes e5, and this is not really a good move, but it's very popular at lower level. Now, the setup I was talking about that's more popular is f3, with the idea of going g4 and castling, but black gets very good counterplay here, because again, what we're doing here, if we just follow my strategy of what's our opponent trying to do, how do we act against that? He wants to castle queenside, so we should start by doing something on the queen side. So here, c6, and let's say queen d2, b5 would actually give us a head start on the queenside attack, because now we have b4. Our knight may want to come to c4 later on. These are all common ideas. Our queen often comes out to a5 combined with b4, and queen takes a2. So this is the kind of thing you should be thinking of. Now, in the actual game, any other things I think you should bear in mind? Well, after the capture here, now I not have a pawn on d6. My bishop doesn't have to go to e7. It can go to a much more active square, which it does. f3 defends that threat. And now just c6. And this is your normal idea in the black line. This gives you the queenside advance. After knight e2, we simply castle. And my opponent hasn't really played any horribly bad moves here. So it's quite maybe thematic to see how he loses without doing anything too wrong. And now we just go bishop c5 with the idea of taking here with the queen. And my opponent defends that, and now we gain some space. And this is often, if you can play b5 in the black line, you should nearly always play it, because it gains space on the queen side. And the player who has more space in a game of chess, it nearly always benefits them, because you have more room to maneuver. Your opponent is more likely to make a mistake because he's more cramped. And in this particular situation, after a5, I have quite annoying threats, but I don't need to push those pawns, but I will only push those pawns when they achieve something tangible. So my opponent now plays some moves which are a little bit irrelevant, and I've only got one piece to develop. Now, I was going to put it on b7, but as we saw, putting the bishop on a6 behind the a pawn was extremely effective, because the bishop will open up here. Question from 4NTHCO. What if white plays a3 when you first move the black bishop? Well, I think in that situation I would have taken the knight there and doubled white's pawns. I'll go back and answer that very quickly. So if a3 here, I would have taken it on c3. Now, taking here might now be a mistake. Can anyone tell me why that is a blunder? Let's see how many of you are awake. Why is that maybe a mistake? I would not have played that move here. Why is that a bad move? Well, queen d5, knight d6. So maybe not queen d5. If queen d5, my knight can come back to d6 and it defends and attacks. Hardware ban and 1891. Yes, it's often these tactics you see a move and you just got to change the move order around. This queen d5 idea is, you know, on that. But if you change the move order around, because this doesn't work, even though you have 2 threats, I can deal with them by moving my knight back. But if you change the move order around and first take it, this is often something to do with tactics, this will now work very well. And you can see white's going to win the knight back and my king is exposed. But what I would have done in this situation is obviously not take on e4, but first just castle. And here, you know, I've lost my dark squares, so maybe my opponent has some compensation, but these pawns are very weak. And I should be able to cover my dark squares, queen e7 and stuff like this. So there's an interesting question there, but I probably would have taken there to get a dynamic position. Now, after the way the game went, as soon as I got my bishop to a6, it's very nice of me, and my opponent kind of helps me here, because I was thinking I might take this and move my knight to c5 anyway, and he's always playing slightly inferior moves, and the more inferior moves you play, the worse the situation gets, logically. And now the knight is very well placed here, and this is another thing I talk about in my Black Line course, coming out in 4 days, as I keep mentioning. Buy it now from Chessable, and you can support me and learn a great opening. And this knight here would not be possible if my opponent had not swapped on d4. So it's these little things we're thinking about. You know that he swapped on e5, earlier on from d4. That does give me the c5 square. If he still had a pawn here, none of this would be possible. So that's why I think taking here is not always that good. And now if I could take the bishop, I'm doing very well. But actually after bishop a2, I'm already winning. And I haven't done anything special. All that I've done is develop, gain space, know what I'm trying to do in the opening. And whenever I teach something in a course, I really try to explain. I even go overboard, and people probably get a bit pissed off with me. Why are you explaining it so much? You're really repetitive, man. But it's the right way to learn. Chess is not easy. You need to repeat yourself. And all I've done is the normal Black Line things, and I'm playing a 1900, and after b4 I'm already winning. Hello to Fuxier. I probably always say your name wrong, but hello to you. Hope you're doing right. And anyone else who's joined in with the stream. I'm only streaming for an hour here. I've got another half an hour. I've actually got a Sainsbury's delivery of toilet roll and hand sanitizers, face masks coming up in half an hour. So I'm stockpiling 100 cans of soup. No, I'm not really, but I am actually getting some extra toilet roll because apparently people go crazy when there's any panic. And cat food. Imagine if they're actually, imagine this had a mortality rate of 50%. I mean, that'd be pretty bad, I have to say. But the whole country would just literally collapse. It shows you how fear does work. This is scary, as we mentioned the coronavirus today. It is scary, but really, I mean, humans going to make it a lot worse by not keeping their cool and listening. Don't listen to the Daily Bloody Mail or the Sun or any crappy newspaper like that who love spreading fear. Really do not listen to that. Listen to actual experts. If you listen to experts, then they will tell you not to bloody panic. That's all you need to do. Don't listen to idiots. You don't look well though. A couple of people have said that. Maybe I've got the corona. Maybe I've got the coronavirus. That's very nice of you to say you don't look well. This is what I normally look like. So you take it or leave it. I'm feeling pretty damn good. I like to say, I think it's the camera settings, but it's just the ginger. You'll get used to the ginger. Thank you for saying that. Just trying to make you paranoid. Very nice. Shall I ban you for paranoia? No, we won't. Please don't joke about viruses. Who's joking about viruses? You're allowed to joke. It's always best to joke about the worst things in life, I find. What's better than crying? Laughing. So, you've got to have a sense of humour even when the ship is going down. Okay, so anyway, after this, my opponent took on b4. And now he has a serious problem here. And we can see that because my pawn advance, I'm pushing my opponent's knights backwards, and now that his knight goes here, all his communication with his pieces is totally screwed up. Look at these guys, they're terribly placed. And now with rook on fd8, I might as well play this first because I get another piece on an open file with tempo. And now we have the simple tactic of opening up my rook and playing pawn to b3, and this actually wins the exchange after knight takes b3, and this is a very easy win for me because my pieces are very well placed here and I have no weaknesses and I'm the exchange up. So all looking pretty okay. So there you go, very easy win in the black line. So we got